We're at our secret garage. Let's see what we're going to be rolling out for this video. Looks like a 2018 Honda Clarity plug-in hybrid. Pretty nice looking car in my book. From the side, this looks like a rather long vehicle. We'll get inside later and see how much room we've got. And we have unique styling from the rear view. And an emblem saying plug-in hybrid, so your neighbors will know you care about the environment. So the obvious question, how does a plug-in hybrid work? Well, for starters, you stick this cord inside the vehicle from this end. You stick this in an electrical outlet. Supposedly, a 120 volt household will charge in 12 to 14 hours, or 240 volt will charge everything in 2.5 hours. I'm told that an industrial charger that you get at shopping centers will do it in half an hour. Once you're fully charged, you have a range of approximately 47 miles driving on electric only. And by electric only, that means no gasoline engine is operating the vehicle. Once the main battery goes dead, the vehicle switches over to normal hybrid operation. This gives you a 181 horsepower electric battery. It also gives you a 103 horsepower engine. Now my math tells me that's a total of 284 horsepower, but if you combine it all, it comes to 212 horsepower. Don't ask me to explain that, that's just the way these systems work. When driving in the hybrid-only mode, your average MPG is rated at 42 miles per gallon, which we'll find out later as we do some more driving. By the way, when you fill the gas tank, it's only holding 7 gallons, so don't plan on going too far on interstate highway trips. On paper, the 7-gallon tank at 42 mpg and the electric battery should give you a cruising range of just over 320 miles, but that's on paper. In the real world, it might be slightly less. So what are the economic benefits of this system? Well, for one thing, if you drove 45 miles a day on electric only, and did that 365 days a year, you would have around 16,000 miles without using any gas, which would save you approximately $1,800 a year. Honda won't tell us how much this technology adds to the price of a car, but even if it was $8,000, you could probably end up paying for this in about 4 years of electric driving, assuming you could do that. Even if you run the main battery dead and have to use the gasoline engine, if you're taking trips of less than 100 miles, there's still fuel economy savings to be found. Let's say you drive to work at 47 miles on electric, drive home 47 miles on the gasoline hybrid engine. In that 94-mile trip, you'll use just over 1 gallon of fuel, which should give you approximately 85 miles per gallon. Approximately. But if you're taking long interstate trips, say driving from Los Angeles to New York, the electric battery isn't going to do you much good. You'll be running on gasoline hybrid only, again at approximately 42 miles per gallon. By the way, the charging times I gave you, I got those off the internet. I had to because the owner's manual, amazingly, I went through this whole thing, doesn't tell you the charging times. In fact, there's only one page in the entire book that discusses this, and that just tells you how to stick the cord in the box. That's just the way it is. I don't have access to a 240 volt charger for speed charging, but I will be trying to find an industrial charger at one of the shopping centers later on this video if we get time. And we'll be doing a lot of charging in a home garage circuit at the 120 volt outlet. So stay tuned. If you watch my videos, you know one of the first things we do when we get a vehicle is take the headlights out in the dark and see how they work. These are pretty fancy looking LEDs, so we'll take these out right now and see what happens. It's dark enough. Let's check out these headlights and see how they perform in the dark. They've got a nice appearance from the front anyway. Hard to miss. Here we have the headlights on a wall 100 feet away on the low beam setting. Nice and bright, good widespread, good height. Go to high beam. Plenty of light. Looks pretty good to me. Here we have the brights on the building 300 feet away. Plenty of light. Really reaches out. Go to low beam. Around 260 feet. Good widespread. Overall, I'd say these are very nice headlights. And if you're on a dark road with no street lights, it does a pretty good job on high beam of lighting up your way, as you can see. You're probably wondering how much this vehicle costs, and I'll tell you up front it is not inexpensive, but on the positive side, there are really no options. Everything comes standard in two models. The base model around $35,000, and the touring model that we have here, which has navigation leather seats. And here's the total tab with shipping. But again, look at all the standard equipment you're getting. I won't read it off. You can see it here on the screen. And by the way, you're getting a real Japanese vehicle assembled in Japan by Japanese workers, which explains the high quality. That's worth a few bucks extra, right? Before we take this out and see how it drives, we'll look at the cabin. See what you'll be sitting in if you buy this. Personally, I've never been a fan of Honda car interiors. They look a little bit too Star Trek-y for me, but that's just my personal opinion. It shouldn't affect your opinion on whether or not you're going to buy the vehicle. Certainly the quality of materials and workmanship is very good, and since this is made in Japan, the quality is even better. Unlike other electric cars, where the space is for the battery, not real people, you got a lot of room back here. Room for 2 full-size adults, maybe just 3. We get a nice large glove box, another feature we don't often see in electric cars. Thank you, Honda. A large storage console in between the seats, which holds my little cheap flip phone that everybody makes fun of. 2 giant cup holders. We get a nice instrument cluster with lots of useful information. On the right, fuel tank capacity for that entire 7 gallons. On the left, the main battery capacity. Looks like we got about 40 miles left. Says I'm getting 112 miles to the gallon today. Lucky me. We'll be doing more fuel economy tests later in the video. To my amazement, this vehicle actually comes with performance paddle shifters on the steering wheel. I don't think I've ever seen that on a hybrid or electric car before. They'll give you something to play with if you get bored. The infotainment navigation system is pretty easy to use. As you can see, the rear end of this vehicle sits rather high, so the question is, how do you see what you're doing when you're backing up? Well, number one, there is a rear backup camera. As we can see here, gives a good field of view, works rather nice. But there's another backup feature that's not advertised. This panel right here is solid glass, see-through glass. So looking through here, the rear window, we can see the tree that we're almost backing into. Nifty idea. These rear seats do fold down, by the way. One of the disadvantages of this glass panel is somebody with a flashlight can peek in there in the dark and see what you're storing in the trunk. Fortunately, Honda provides a cargo cover. Use it. And if would-be thieves are looking for your spare tire to steal, they're out of luck because this car doesn't come with one. But this is a large trunk. No doubt you could stick one in and still have plenty of room, which I suggest you do if you take interstate highway trips. I did have 2 complaints with the Clarity interior. Number one, the sun visors do fold off to the side to help block out the sun, but they don't slide back and forth, so you have this gap where the sun is always coming in the early morning, late afternoon. This is a brand new car designed from the ground up. We shouldn't be looking at a design like this. It needs to be fixed. Maybe next year. And the number two complaint is this totally idiotic, useless volume control, where you use your fingers to raise or lower the volume, which is hard enough to do when you're sitting still, impossible to use when you're driving. In all fairness, I had a lot of conversations with Honda people, and they are phasing this out. They're already putting knobs in other vehicles. The sooner the better for this. Fortunately, there's a volume knob on the steering wheel, so you really don't have to use that other one anyway. Thank goodness. I'll add a third gripe since we're already sitting here. There doesn't seem to be any way to turn off the auto-dimming mirror. A piece of tape solves that problem. By the way, I did appreciate the climate controls, which can be operated separately from the infotainment system. Very easy to use. A couple knobs, a few buttons. No complaints here. But if you're one of those high-tech people who likes to use the infotainment system screen, you won't be disappointed. Press the magic button, and the entire climate system pops right up. Your choice. The screen mode, or what I prefer, the manual mode. Now that we've covered the show and tell, it's time to do some driving, get some performance and fuel economy figures. Stay tuned. With a hybrid system or an electric battery pulling over 2 tons of mass, the acceleration of this vehicle is not very quick in normal driving. On the other hand, if you put the gas pedal to the floor, the gasoline engine kicks in, the hybrid system kicks in, the main electric battery kicks in, and you can get it going relatively quick, considering. And if you press the Sport button and ignore the Economy button, you might get it going just a wee bit quicker as well. So let's see if we can lay some rubber here. Now, you hear everything kicking in? Now we're moving. All 3 systems working. Not bad, really. Nice brakes. Just be informed, doing acceleration runs like this really eats the battery power up from the main system. But hey, you're having fun. You can always plug it in and charge more, right? By the way, I wasn't expecting much from this electric power steering system, but actually it feels pretty good and has decent feedback. I like it. Unusual for an electric car, but no complaints here. On city streets, this is one of the smoothest riding vehicles I've ever driven. Like being on a cloud, Honda did a great job on suspension. But on sharp impacts like potholes and speed bumps, well, I haven't found that out yet. We're going to find it now because we're going to hit 4 speed bumps doing 20 to 30 miles per hour and see what happens. Speed bump number 1, 25 miles per hour. Not bad. Another one coming up at 30 miles per hour. A soft one. The big nasty one. Here it comes. Pretty good. Absorb the impacts quite well. A good solid body. Very impressive. Since this vehicle was designed for comfort, not taking corners like a sports car, I know this turning circle is going to be a disaster. We're going to be spinning out real soon. Well, maybe not. Well, maybe so. Overall, it did pretty good. Just don't take any corners at 100 miles per hour. You'll be okay. Will this car go 100 miles per hour? Don't know. This This is a fantastic highway cruiser. It'd be great for long interstate trips if we just had a larger gas tank. I suspect they put the small tank in to save weight. There appears to be enough room for a larger fuel tank. Maybe they'll give us one next year. I've charged this car about 7 times in a 120 volt outlet and can confirm the charging time is approximately 14 hours. If you want to do a quickie charge, leaving in for 3 hours will get you 15 miles, enough to go to the local supermarket, I guess. Looks like we're out of juice, so I'm going to go to one of those industrial chargers they have at shopping centers and see if this really does charge in less than a half an hour. And just like you have parking jerks who park in handicapped spaces who shouldn't be, I notice there are a lot of parking jerks parking in charging stations who shouldn't be. And I know when I get there, they're going to be filling up in the space I belong in. You wait and see. So let's go do it. Okay, the good news is I found an electric charger at the local shopping center. The bad news is, as expected, the parking jerks are filling up the spaces and I can't park here. So I hope the cord reaches down the road a bit, because I'm going to have to move this cord way down. Looks like the cord just barely fit. So we're going to leave it in for around 45 minutes, come back and see if we got a full charge. And apparently there are people who can't read. It states here EV parking only. But like the people parking in the handicapped spaces that aren't supposed to, we got people parking here that aren't supposed to. So I'm going to get the camera out and record their license plates for YouTube. Nice electric car you got there.
Yeah, it's nice.
See you on YouTube, asshole. And here's the other one. That was fun. I think I'm going to go in and read some books for free. Okay, now that the tow truck scared everybody off that's not supposed to be parking here, let's go see if this vehicle's been charged. It's been 45 minutes. All that time and the battery's still dead. I think I got screwed out of 50 cents of electricity. Guess I'll have to get a refund. Tell you what, guys, this car is going back soon. I'm running out of time, so rather than fool around with the charging system, I'm just going to let the main battery stay dead. We're going to drive on the fuel tank with the regular hybrid system and see what type of fuel economy we get there, because I have a lot of gas to run out and very little time to do it. Okay, it's day 2. I ran out a third tank of gas. Let's see what the fuel economy was. 100% city driving, 41.4 mpg. Pretty close to what the EPA estimates are. Not bad, especially for a 2-ton car. We're going to be doing some driving tonight in the hybrid-only mode. See what type of fuel economy we get, because we have lots of gas to run out. This car is going back tomorrow. Stay tuned and we'll look at the figures and see what we got. Tonight's driving gave us 41.9 mpg in the normal mode. The rest of my driving, I'm going to put the car in sport mode. See if that affects the fuel economy. One feature I was impressed with, there's a camera on the outside right mirror. But on the right turn signal, the camera gives you a clear view of everything that's to your right. Comes in real handy when changing lanes in the dark, so you don't hit people like him. Okay, I was driving all night and a good part of the morning, and I was not driving for fuel economy. I had my foot on the accelerator, had it in sport mode, and still I got a very nice 41.0 mpg. Very impressive. After a week of driving, it's time to wrap this test up, and I have 2 thoughts on the Honda Clarity. Number 1, the environmentalists and the California politicians tell us that vehicles like this are pollution-free, and that's not really true. The simple fact is, when you're plugging this cord into an electrical socket, chances are you're running either off a coal plant or a nuclear plant, and they both create pollution. Simple fact, folks. So while electric vehicles might be emissions-free, they're not really pollution-free, because they're simply transferring one source of pollution from one area to another. I'm not trying to put down electric cars, I'm just stating a few facts here. Getting back to the vehicle performance itself, I think I can say this is the best plug-in hybrid on the market. In my opinion, anyway. In fact, I'm going to go out on a second limb and say this is the best hybrid I've ever driven, whether it's a plug-in or not. And third, in everyday driving, not only does this vehicle drive as good as most conventional cars in terms of comfort and overall enjoyment, it's actually better than many conventional cars, which is a very good engineering accomplishment from Honda. Now, if only they could get the price down around $5,000 less and put a slightly larger fuel tank on this, we'd really have something, but maybe a couple years from now. In the meantime, if you're shopping for a plug-in hybrid or just a hybrid without the plug-in, you definitely need to give this vehicle a look. I was very, very impressed. 4 months ago, we did a video on this 2018 Mitsubishi Outlander with a 4-cylinder gasoline engine. And 2 months ago, we tested this Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Did a video on that. We'll have links for all the Mitsubishi videos I've done coming up at the end of this video. In the meantime, we're going to go to our garage and roll out another Mitsubishi. The 2018 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid. Says so right on the door. PHEV. It should say CAAL for cost an arm and a leg at $42,000. But hey, it's loaded up with all the goodies, so at least you're getting something for your money. If I explained all the technical advances underneath the bodywork, we'd be here for hours. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep this video very simple. So let's start with showing you how this basically works. To begin, you open the charging door. You have 2 charging ports here. We'll be using this. Insert the cord. Then plug this box into the nearest outlet. You have 3 ways to charge the vehicle. Level 1, 120 volt out of your household current. That takes around 8 to 14 hours. A level 2, 240 volt, approximately 3.5 hours. Or a DC fast charger, approximately 25 minutes. Once the vehicle is charged, your battery indicator right here will turn solid blue. That gives you 20 to 22 miles of electric driving, depending on which book you read. Once the main battery discharges, the vehicle switches over to the hybrid system, most of which we see under the hood here. It consists of a 4-cylinder gasoline engine, a generator and a battery, with an electric motor running the front wheels, and an electric motor running the rear wheels, making it a true 4-wheel drive. Fuel economy running on hybrid alone is listed at 25 mpg overall. We'll be doing a lot of driving to see if that's true. By comparison, the 4-cylinder non-hybrid Outlander we tested about 6 months ago got around 24 to 25 overall, and the V6 we tested long before that got around 22 overall. The main advantage of this particular system is for people taking short trips. If you did 20 miles on electric and a return trip 20 miles on gas, you probably get figures up in the 50 mpg range. For long freeway trips, not so well. There are 2 differences between the standard Outlander and this electric hybrid. Things you don't get here that you would on the other. Unlike the standard Outlander, there's no 3rd row seat in this particular vehicle. They had to take it out to make room for the battery and electrics underneath. Unfortunately, it also means there's no spare tire under here, just a storage space for the charging cord. Don't get a flat. That's why I've been carrying my tire repair kit with me. Everything I need in here. You might want to get one too. Fortunately, we did get this knob carried over. It allows you to adjust the alignment of the front headlights, raising them or lowering them as you see fit. If you want to see how that works, you can watch my other Outlander video. For the rest of this video, we're going to do driving and mainly fuel economy testing. After all, it is what we're here for, right? So let's do it. The hybrid system in this Outlander adds almost 800 pounds to the vehicle's weight. It's not lightweight. So 0 to 60 times aren't exactly going to melt the tires. While this vehicle might be low in horsepower, it's got gobs of torque thanks to the electric, so you can feel it in the seat of your pants when you hit the throttle. It actually jerked me back in the seat. Now we'll disconnect the battery and go to hybrid mode. Not quite as quick off the line, but ends up going just about as quick once you get running. And about as quiet. This is one of the smoothest riding vehicles I've ever driven. Should be interesting to see how it performs on these speed bumps that we'll be taking around 25 miles per hour. So here we go. Bump number 1. Pretty solid body structure. Bump number 2. Number 3. And a big nasty one coming up. Sounds pretty loud, but it didn't reach the body structure. It's pretty smooth. We usually take our sports cars on the turning circle. It seems kind of pointless in this soft hybrid suspension, but let's do it anyway. We're already here. The steering is extremely slow, by the way. Yep, four-wheel drive or no four-wheel drive. Not the best for taking tight corners. This vehicle obviously was not intended to be a race car, but a daily commuter, and it does so quite well. So we're going to rack up some more miles and see what type of fuel economy we're getting. So far I've been getting about 25 to 26 mpg mixed commuting running on the engine system alone, a dead battery. Now I charged the battery overnight. We're going to take a 65-mile highway trip. See if we get some impressive fuel economy figures. So let's see what happens. Running on a charged battery, this thing has gobs of torque and pretty good pickup. Comes in handy if you're passing. Pretty quiet too. And smooth. Oh good, nothing like a tornado in the middle of the freeway to kill everybody. The main battery just went dead at 20 miles. We'll be driving on the hybrid engine power from now on. These outside mirrors generate a lot of wind noise at freeway speeds, and it's picking up on my microphone, but it's not as bad as it sounds because this is a well-insulated vehicle and still relatively quiet. In fact, most of the whooshing noise you're hearing is coming from the air conditioning on full blast because it is 109 degrees outside. Pretty hot. I want to stay cool in here. Alright, 20 miles of electric, 40 miles of non-electric driving. Let's see what the MPG turns out to be. There you go, 31.8 MPG. We will be making a return trip, non-electric only. We'll see what type of figure we get with that. We're going to take a return freeway trip, reset the mileage computer. And as you can see, the battery indicator shows the main battery is dead after running 20 miles. We will be running on hybrid power only. And it's kind of hot out there, 122 degrees. And that's pretty normal out here in the desert in the middle of summer. Over the years, I've noticed that hybrid vehicles seem to work more efficiently in cold weather. They definitely do not like hot weather. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of fuel economy figures we get before this video is over. Okay, our 70-mile return trip. I was expecting more at 21.3 mpg, but we didn't get it. Like I said, hybrids don't like heat, and it's still pretty hot out there. So tomorrow morning, when it's cool, we'll give this another try. We're going to reset the computer and do another freeway trip. Stand by. Okay, we just did 70 miles at 75 miles per hour, 22.9 mpg, a bit better than yesterday, but then the temperature is way a bit lower, I would say. More to come. So we're getting off the highway, and the first question you might be asking, can you take this vehicle off-road? It does come standard with 4-wheel drive, and here's the 4x4 lock button. That's the good news. The bad news, as I stated earlier, there's no spare tire. You don't want to go out in the desert with no spare tire. You might be doing some walking. So you might want to buy a spare tire if you're going out in the desert like this or anywhere off-road. Otherwise, you can take this off pavement, but bear in mind this isn't a heavy-duty truck. It is a light-duty crossover, recreational use only. Okay, we stopped with our off-roading, got on a freeway trip, 72 miles, 75 miles per hour. Better fuel economy this time, 24 mpg, but it was slightly cooler, around 85 degrees when we left, now 97 degrees, getting hot. And that's what we got. For the rest of the day, we're going to do some city commuting, see if we can get the fuel economy figures up. And so far, city commuting have shown the best figures. So we'll see what happens. I just finished a trip with approximately 50% battery power, get the 50% hybrid driving, heavy city traffic, 41.2 mpg. We have a lot more fuel economy tests coming up with a lot more miles to rack up, so stay tuned. By the way, that was with an outside temperature of 106 degrees. Okay, I've been driving in city traffic all day, getting 26.7. So overall, it looks like I'm getting around 26 around town and 22 on the highway average, versus the non-hybrid 4-cylinder I drove 6 months ago. I was getting 22 around town and around 25 to 26 on the highway. Either way, that's an average around 24 to 25 mpg for the non-hybrid vehicle and this hybrid vehicle. Go figure. So as we can see by our testing, the more city driving you do, the better fuel economy you'll get. The more freeway driving you do, the less fuel economy you'll get. This is basically a commuting car for daily use, not long trips. If you want to get your maximum economy, you're going to have to charge the main battery and charge it often. But that's what it was intended for, right? This plug-in electric hybrid Outlander isn't for everybody. For those who don't want the hybrid electric system, the basic Outlander with the 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder engine is a very good choice, and we have links for those video tests coming up right now.